Should we get going? All right, good morning. Good morning. I know it's the third day of the session, the whole build. Hopefully it's going well. But I heard there are 20,000 people online. So, in case the room is not full, we have a full house online as well. So my name is Srini Raghavan, VP of Microsoft Teams Ecosystem. So today, what we will do, I'm joined by Siffat Hingorani here, who will come later and join me as well in terms of talking through this. So what we will do today, I have three things that I want to walk you through. Specifically, number one, we'll take you through the whole process of what does it take to be able to build a Copilot extension and customize a Copilot, all the way to publishing it and monetizing it. What's the process in which you go through that? And along the way, we'll actually showcase some real examples of Copilot extensions that ISVs and customers have been building, and these are real stuff that you can see that spark some ideas in terms of how it goes, right? And then we'll also show in terms of, hey, how do you actually monetize it using the commercial marketplace that Microsoft has? And also recap in terms of some assets and takeaways and videos and demos that you can actually use for later. Sound good? So let me set the stage before we walk. So AI, as you know, how many of you have heard of how many times have you heard of Copilot this whole the last 3 days? Raise your hand if you know the answer to that question. So because you'll hear a lot in this session as well. And you'll also hear a lot about Copilot extensions, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. So setting the stage, AI and Copilot is transforming the way people are working, organizations are operating, and it's never been a better time to be a developer. And that's the key thing. AI is going to change profoundly how everybody works, and every existing application is going to be reinvented with AI. And we are going to see a new slate of apps with AI that were never possible before. And you will see those capabilities show up as well. And developers like yourselves are actually helping using AI to be able to build applications and some of these extensions that transform a lot of workflows and industries. And at the same time, I know that it actually helps not just your business, but also your customers' business as well. So the one thing that I want to talk about is also our vision at Microsoft is pretty simple and straightforward. We are a Copilot company. And with Copilot, we believe that there will be a Copilot for everyone and for every task and everything that we do. And let's transition very quickly. I want to start off with showing how some ISVs and customers have actually been building in real life. We do have some showcase. I'll run the video, and then we can go deeper into how we start building it.
How could extending Microsoft Copilot transform work for your customers and users? Identify project owners and update tasks to keep projects on track. Help PR professionals gauge public perceptions and track brand mentions effortlessly. Enable sales teams to quickly generate reports and charts to make analyzing data easier than ever. Provide employees with resources to help them manage stress more effectively. When complex scenarios requiring more assistance come up, help is just a click away through seamless handoffs. With Copilots, the opportunities for innovation are endless. Build enterprise-grade Copilots with low-code tools. Create a highly customized Copilot with pro-code tools, and help your customers achieve more.
So in case that went fast, right? So I'll talk a little bit about that later. We do have a set of assets and demos that you can go watch for yourself later and use them as well. So as you have seen with these experiences, there's a lot of ISVs and customers who are starting to build applications and extensions with Copilot. And it's a fantastic way to be able to realize value from workflows and AI for customers. Now let's start looking at the process itself in terms of how do we go from Copilot, take Copilot, and build Copilot extension from production development to production. And all the options as well, some tools along the way. So you may have seen this stack over the course of the last 2 days, where what's new, we introduce a lot of new stuff here. This is perhaps the most advanced enterprise AI platform that helps you build a lot of capabilities that is infused with Copilot and AI solutions for your applications as well. So you can start with Copilot. Starting with Copilot on the left, you can see you can start with Copilot, or you can actually customize and extend with specific knowledge, actions, triggers, as well as data. It is anchored with the enterprise and organizational data. When you start with the Copilot, it has Microsoft Graph behind it. That's the enterprise graph and magic that actually brings to life all the things that you want to be able to do within the context of Microsoft 365. But once you start extending it, it actually is anchored in the enterprise data, the organizational data that you as developers will want to bring in, as well as specific actions and customized knowledge for grounding it. And at the same time, as you move up the stack in terms of making it more advanced, you can actually work to hand off from Copilot to your own custom extensions. So going a little deeper on this chart, you can start with building your own Copilot using Copilot Studio or some of the tools that we will talk a little bit about. Or you can build and do Copilot extensions. It's easy for the organizations to be able to create these Copilots, and also extensions to allow business process and workflow automation. So at the core of all the extensions is actually the workflow automation, right? Every organization, every enterprise has a business process or a workflow, whether it is HR, finance, sales process, marketing, and so on and so forth, right? Many of them are very repetitive in nature, data intensive, things that need to actually be, you can make it more efficient in terms of automating it. And the way you can actually do that is build an extension and pilot. I'll show you some examples of that with some specific apps as well. And this actually you can start building these Copilot extensions with a few clicks, starting with, for example, SharePoint. Many of you have SharePoint sites, customers have SharePoint sites. The data is stored there. You can point to the data within the SharePoint, be able to just create a quick custom Copilot extension. The second is to be able to use Copilot Studio. If you want to go and use Copilot Studio to actually use a managed tool where you can, it's a rapid development environment where you can actually create a Copilot extension very quickly. The one thing that Copilot Studio also affords and does is not just in terms of making you work with Copilot, but also make Copilot work for you behind the scenes in the background. So one capability that we added is the thing called triggers. So you can actually have some events, data types, or things like email trigger an action. So you can create a custom extension, Copilot extension, and you don't have to be babysitting it. You can come back later, and it'll actually be based on some triggers that you can actually drive. So that's a great way to be able to just make Copilot extension work for you. And the last piece is Visual Code, VS Code. If you want to create even more advanced version of an extension, you could do that by bringing your own model and additional customizations that you want to do, whether you want to do it with UX or with the data behind it as well. Now, a few things. We already are seeing a lot of partners and developers actually using the tools that we have to build focus in some key areas, starting with things like summarization, summarize information. So you can actually take content today, use the content to be able to quickly summarize, or if you have a writer's block, take existing documents or a bunch of existing documents, point that and create a new version of a draft that actually jumpstarts the whole process itself. You're able to extract key insights and information that might take many, many hours to be able to do it in a very swift fashion. And all of this is in the flow of work. If either you're in Teams, if you want to do it in Teams, you could do with an extension that actually shows up in Teams, or even you can do it in the CMC that we call copilot.microsoft.com. And the last but not least is to be able to take all the complex data, pivot tables, and to be able to generate good insights. And talking about insights, I'll just show an example in terms of how MoveWorks does it.
MoveWorks helps people solve support tickets, search content, and automate workflows. Maya has just come back from vacation and asks Copilot to summarize her action items from emails and messages. There are a few things that jump out: sending an NDA, sharing documentation, and following up on a delayed project. She needs to get on the project's distribution list. She asks the MoveWorks Copilot extension to help. It comes back asking for clarification. She seamlessly requests access to the distribution list through MoveWorks. Responding to natural language, it starts the process of adding her to the right group and creates an IT ticket to track it. To finish getting caught up on work and move on with her day, she can take care of her other action items, like sending that NDA to a customer, simply by telling MoveWorks their name and email.
So as you saw in that example, right, you start off with Microsoft Copilot, and it jumps to the MoveWorks Copilot, and it has specific actions and as well as data it's able to pull from Microsoft Graph as well as from other information sources for tickets, IT tickets, and so on and so forth. So that's one great example of how you would do it. The second piece is to be able to accelerate insights. Now, you can take a lot of time to be able to take all the data that you have and derive insights, but the idea is to be able to do it instantly and very quickly and save time and effort to do things like predictive analysis, being able to glean trends from existing information or trends that may happen in the future, or even things like making personalized recommendations, tailoring your Copilot to be able to provide historical user preferences that may be associated with specific data and make personalized recommendation that is very specific to you. And also taking complex cost information, financial information to be able to make assessments and making sense of that in a very simple fashion. So here is one example that I want to show as to how that is done by one of our other customers.
WM Reply are a global consulting and digital services provider specializing in digital workplace solutions built on Microsoft 365. Mia, a business unit manager, is preparing for a business review meeting. She wants to understand more about expense management related to her projects. She uses Gecko, the system that is the beating heart of Reply Group, holding information relating to projects, financials, and timesheets. Their Copilot extension, Gecko Assistant, answers Mia's question based on expense policies, which are held in a specific document library where all current policy documents are maintained. Mia notices that a project is having time booked to it even though she understood that it was closed. Gecko Assistant answers and responds, showing 3 people have booked time on the Fabricam Dynamics upgrade project in the last month. The card shows consultant names, hours booked, and chat to each. Mia checks in with the consultant who explains that the customer asked for extra work. Mia then wants to dig into the financial details. Gecko Assistant responds with a financial summary of the project and helps Mia review the invoices. When it's time to communicate, Gecko Assistant helps draft the email and attaches the invoices, which helps ensure a seamless and productive experience.
So in that example, as you saw, that is built by one of our SI partners for a customer. It's not a third-party application, but it's actually built by one of the customers. And you could do that if you are a consultant or if you are a SI integrator, system integrator, you could do that as well. And next piece is to be able to, this is a core of what Copilot extensions are all about, right? Which is taking all the organizational operations, all the way from HR operations to finance operations to legal, including things like sales operations. So streamlining sales process as an example, being able to customize and generate a lot of customer responses for inquiries that come in. A lot of that could be manual today, but you can actually take the power of Copilot extensions and be able to analyze some of the feedback and create sales strategy on the fly very quickly. And also being able to improve customer interactions, and this could be in the customer support scenario, or even simple things like being able to have a simple chat associated with a website or an inbound inquiry that comes in that actually automates your customers' reactive support when they actually reach out to you, and increasing efficiency for the customer. And last but not least, things like research process. It could be being able to go through incredibly cumbersome research information, being able to get answers, find answers. I mean, that's a whole, the holy grail is to be able to not just get a whole wall of text, but to be able to get a very specific answer to a query from all the information that they have, including things like in a legal research process, being able to get a specific clause or a specific term, and it could be a procurement contract too. And here's one example that actually shows how the streamlining of processes comes into play with one of our partners, UiPath, and that actually takes the automation piece combined with Copilot extension that brings it within Teams.
The UiPath Copilot extension helps people automate everyday tasks. For example, Daniela, a loan officer, can prompt Copilot to summarize her customer loan applications. Copilot uses the Microsoft Graph to pull loan requests from Daniela's emails and allows her to use UiPath automations. Daniela processes the townhouse loan first and leverages UiPath to automate next steps. After reviewing the information captured from the application, Daniela decides to submit it for preliminary approval. Daniela gets a notification that her loan submission was approved and gets a loan rate along with a loan ID. She's also able to get historical market rates and generate a customer email with a request to digitally sign the loan agreement. Daniela runs the Submit for Signature automation and completes the loan approval process.
So here you see an example of taking something that UiPath does from very well in terms of automation, but using that in the context of Copilot itself, and then completing the task and the process very easily. In this case, submitting a loan application, for example. That's one example of that. So we're seeing a lot of great traction with our partner ecosystem. One place that you can go and look up all the demos and the list of partners that we have is ak.ms/Copilot ecosystem. So as we jump from here, we are excited to be working with a lot of these ISV partners and customers. As you can see, we already have great momentum. So these are just some examples of ISV customers. You'll find a QR code if you want to take a look at all the demos as well. We hope to see many of your logos on this slide that we may not be able to fit into one slide someday. So hopefully that we'll be able to do it in the next build. So let's discuss in terms of how do you bring Copilot extensions to your customers, right? So one is about taking some of the tools that we have, being able to build these extensions, and then we'll walk you through as to how do you publish and monetize it. But what does it take to be able to take it to the marketplace? So one is, there are three ways to be able to do it. One, you can actually publish, take your Copilot extension, and sell it directly to Microsoft customers. We'll give you the distribution through Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Marketplace, where you have hundreds and millions of users having access to it directly. You can create offers and sell it through other Microsoft partners as well. And these could be private offers, or you could be working with a CSP, a cloud solution provider as well. And last but not least, you can actually expand your enterprise sales by creating an Azure IP co-sell and be able to help work with the Microsoft field to actually help you sell the solution as well. So those are some of the ways in terms of how you can actually start with the partner center, submit that to the marketplace, and which goes to the app store, and then make it accessible to the customers. Now, I'd like to have you take through the Copilot extensions and how do you actually go through the process of publishing it and monetizing it in the marketplace. So for that, I'll actually like to invite Siffat to actually walk you through that process, and then I'll come back and give you some final closing thoughts. There you go, Siffat.
Thank you. Thank you, Srini. Hello, everyone. I'm Siffat Hingorani. I'm a Senior Product Manager for Microsoft Teams, and I'm delighted to be here today to show you how you can publish and monetize your extensions and how users will be able to start discovering them across various Microsoft products. To start with, I'd like to share with you some good news. All you have to do is publish your extension once, and it will automatically become available to hundreds of millions of users across Microsoft products. Your extension will be distributed to storefronts across the Copilot Store, Microsoft App Source, and stores in Microsoft 365 products like Teams, Word, and more. These storefronts are intentionally designed to be consistent so that users can easily and predictably navigate and find your extensions no matter which product they're using. Shown here are 3 of these storefronts, App Source, Teams, and Copilot.Microsoft.com, where your extensions will automatically become available once they're published today. And coming soon, that same store experience will also become available in contextual experiences across Microsoft 365 products, so that users, our shared users, can continue using the Microsoft products that they're familiar with and find your extensions available to them at the same time. Now let's take a look at the process you'll need to go through to publish your extensions to these storefronts. Publishing a Copilot extension is a very simple process. As an ISV partner, you'll want to start by navigating to Microsoft Partner Center, which is shown here, and specifically to that Microsoft 365 and Copilot partner program that you see highlighted here. Once your app goes through a set of validations, it will automatically get published to the storefronts that we just saw. Publishing takes care of surfacing your extension in both those storefronts as well as any in-product experiences, which will make it easy for users to find these extensions no matter where in the flow of their work they are. And to show you what that publishing process looks like, let's go into this Microsoft 365 and Copilot program. So once you click into that, you will be directed to this screen where you'll want to select New Offer, as highlighted here. And selecting New Offer will present to you a few different offer types. Depending on the kind of extension that you are building or you have built, you can either publish your extension as a Teams app or as a Power Platform connector. This Power Platform connector option is brand new and is now available for public preview. Keep in mind that your extension will need to be published as either one or the other of these. A single extension cannot be published as both. And that's it. Once you select one of these options and select the offer type, it will take you through a corresponding set of validations, and then ultimately your app will be published. So now that you've seen what the publishing process is like, let's also take a look at how your extensions will show up across those various storefronts. We'll start with Teams. So here we are on the landing page of the Teams storefront, where users will be able to see this Copilot extensions category on the left navigation pane. This is among the top featured collections shown here. And clicking into that Copilot extensions category will update the set of apps shown on the right to showcase all apps and extensions that work with Copilot in a single place. Users will be able to click into each of these app tiles to learn more about the app, the features that it offers, and how it can help them with their work. Also note the special Copilot badge located beside the extension name on the app tile. This denotes that this app is special as it works with Copilot, and this distinction is actually going to become important as users navigate to other parts of the store. Here we can see when a user navigates to another part of the store, such as the productivity category shown here, users will not only see the apps that map to that category, but they will also see your Copilot extensions that map to it. The Copilot badge will continue to show on the app tiles where relevant, and users will similarly be able to click in and learn more about each app. They can also use this filter menu in the upper right corner to select specifically and distill that view down to Copilot extensions. So for example, a user who selects the Copilot extensions filter here would see all Copilot extensions that can help them improve their productivity. Now let's take a look at copilot.microsoft.com and how your extensions will be made available to customers here. So users coming in with a work account will be able to sign in and discover your extensions using the right navigation menu that you see here. On the top of this navigation menu, they will see their installed extensions, which they can easily navigate between or among and interact directly with them. Below that, you'll see this Explore Copilot Extensions button, which users will be able to click into to launch the same store experience that we just saw in Teams. Here, users will be navigated directly to that Copilot extensions collection, and just as in Teams, they will still be able to click in to learn more, navigate to other parts of the store, and use the filters that we saw previously. When a user clicks on the Add button, that extension will get installed, and the user will be navigated back to copilot.microsoft.com with that extension loaded for them, ready to go. Also, where you see that mouse hovering are some suggested prompts that have been provided by the developer of Designer in this case, which help users get started right away using that extension. So when you are building your extension, be sure to provide some starter prompts so that users can go from installing the extension to using it within just a couple of clicks. And finally, let's also take a look at Microsoft App Source, where all your extensions will also be surfaced. When a user lands here, they will see this menu on the left with that Copilot extensions filter. And selecting that filter by checking the box will update the set of apps shown on the right to again be those extensions and apps that work with Copilot. Again, users can click in similarly and learn more about the app, just as they could in Teams. Now let's take a look at the capabilities we provide to IT admins for the easy management and deployment of your extensions. Here we are in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, where IT admins can manage all your Copilot extensions in one place. Admins can view all the apps and their Copilot extensions in this integrated apps section. For each app, they can see a list of host products where that app or extension will appear, and they can also filter this list by app type. Whether the app was built by an ISV partner or an in-house developer or system integrator, all apps can be viewed in this single place. And this is the same place where IT admins have been visiting for years to manage apps for their organization, whether those are 3P or LOB. And now they can continue using this experience to also manage Copilot extensions. Clicking into one of these apps or any of these apps will open this additional experience that you see on the right side, which will allow admins to deploy that app directly to the users within their organization, or to define a set of users who can acquire that app themselves. This is the same experience, again, that admins already have for third-party apps, line of business apps, and now also for Copilot extensions. Keep in mind that Copilot extensions will only be available to users for whom extensibility has been turned on by the admin. So that means that IT admins have full management and control over who in their organization can access any apps or extensions at any point in time. We've intentionally designed this to make it convenient for admins to grant access to all users in their organization or to specific sets of users. Now let's talk about monetizing your extension. If you are an ISV partner, monetization for your Copilot extensions works exactly as it does for Teams apps. You would start by publishing a transactable SaaS offer, and then you would link that SaaS offer to your Teams app or your Copilot extension in Partner Center. And following this, your customers will be able to start purchasing your app through storefronts like AppSource and the Teams store. Again, this is intentionally designed to be consistent across apps and extensions for the sake of your simplicity and convenience. And finally, let's talk about how you can help your customers build trust in the extensions that you're building. So we offer this Microsoft 365 App Compliance program, which helps you and your organization meet the rigorous standards for security, privacy, operations, and data handling. The benefits of getting your extensions or your apps certified include increased transparency for your customers to help them build trust, better exposure for your extensions and your apps in admin centers, in marketplaces, which will help you drive adoption of your apps, and also no cost to you in getting this certification, which includes a penetration test that would save you thousands of dollars and would help your customers know how seriously you take handling of their data. To get certified, you'll want to use the same partner center that you used to publish your extension or your app. And you'll start by completing a publisher attestation, following which you'll need to submit some documentation to provide evidence that your app meets the certification criteria. Once you pass, you will be awarded the Microsoft 365 certification, and you'll get the benefits that I mentioned earlier, which include increased exposure and trust from your users in your app and your organization. Also, in marketplaces, users will be able to use those filters that we saw previously to look specifically for certified apps. So now you have seen how you can publish your Copilot extensions, how you can monetize them, how users will be able to discover them through the various store experiences, and how you can get your apps Microsoft 365 certified. And with that, I'd like to invite Srini back to help us close out the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Siffat. That was awesome. Another round of applause for Siffat. She did a great job. So as you saw, the one thing that I keep getting asked all the time, right, which is, hey, it's great that we can build these apps and extensions, but how do we get customers to adopt it, right? Because once it goes through the store, it's always gated by IT admins and IT pros at customer end, right? So one of the ways that we are trying to make it easier is to be able to just make sure the Microsoft 365 certification of apps provides the transparency and the compliance and the security and trust that we can build with these IT admins and customers. So apps are actually available very easily, or there is less friction in terms of making it available. We're also making a lot of investments in the IT admin area as well. Things like app-centric management, being able to just make approval process a lot easier. Once you approve the app, it's available for all the users and so on and so forth. So we'll probably deep dive and share a lot of that innovation coming in a later session as well. But I wanted to just make sure that as you build these apps, if you're wondering, how do I tap into those 320 million users that we have on Teams or more on Microsoft 365 ecosystem? That's one way for you to get jump started. So with that, there's a couple of things that I wanted to leave you with, right? One is, at our last day at Build, so one thing that you saw is Satya was talking about how AI will unlock new opportunities and will change business productivity across industries. And yesterday you saw how we can actually build in a very secure way with responsible AI solutions for the future in the Microsoft Cloud, which is a very comprehensive stack that we have with Copilot Stack. And also today we shared in terms of how do you build Copilot extensions, what it is, and how we can actually help turbocharge your business processes and workflows, as well as making it certified and getting it all the way to monetization as well. A few key things in terms of how you can actually help drive and grow businesses, your own business, as well as your customers' businesses. One is, like I said, the apps are changing all the time. Every app is going to be reinvented. I think one way to change that is to be able to differentiate that with AI experiences and staying ahead of the curve. And that change is happening rapidly. It's happening fast. It's not 1 year away. It's actually happening today. So continue to actually use and leverage all the tools and capabilities that we bring to actually change and infuse Copilot into some of those experiences. Second is distribution and expand your reach through the Microsoft Copilot ecosystem, as well as the marketplace. We provide a place in the marketplace to be able to just have the distribution out there for hundreds and millions of users. And lastly, use the certification process and the trust. We are very trusted at the enterprise platform with customers in terms of being able to take and deliver those certification and making it easy for users to adopt. So with that, these assets will be available. You can take a look at the blog post that we have. We have a full demo gallery of all the ISV solutions that we have, as well as how do you build a success program, ISV success program. The one thing I want to call out is to thank all the partners, ISVs and customers who are here today, who are featured. They work pretty hard in terms of being able to deliver on all the build assets and what you saw, not just in this session, also in all the other sessions as well. So a big round of applause to the ISVs and SI partners. So with that, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful trip back. Thank you.